Three, two, one. All right, getting back in here on Diamond Conversations here on the Place to Be Nation Podcasting Network. Of course, on the Place to Be Nation Pop feed. If you didn't know by now, my name is Ian, and I'm here on Diamond Conversations with a certified hitting guru and former Major League Baseball player, the one and only Mr. Jeff Frye, joining us today. Mr. Frye, how's things in your land?
All right, buddy. How are you? Thanks for having me.
We're doing phenomenal. We're also joined today by the local statistician of Diamond Conversations, Mr. Doug Barclay. And get ready to talk to you. You turned into a little bit of a viral sensation in the last couple of months, and it's been quite the the fun journey to watch your videos evolve as you've taken on some sort of the haterade, some sort of the non-certified hitting gurus of the current age. How's the past couple months been for you, and kind of taking on this little viral sensation you've got here?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, man. This is all. None of this was planned. I can assure you. It was just kind of. It started out me making fun of some video I saw on, I think on Twitter, and posting something, and next thing I know, people started attacking me and kind of pretty hateful, saying things about me and my kids and stuff, and really ticked me off. So I was like, man, I got to make another video just to see what happens, and it's kind of blown up from there.
The Shigan movement is in full swing, if you will. I'll use a pun there, but it's been quite the feud, because I almost equate it to reverse jockism. As you have guys that don't have the service time that you do, never stepped between the major league white lines, and yet they're taking you to task on some of the things you learned throughout your career from some very, very respectable and legendary names. And it's just kind of funny that the tides have turned, and now you have a guy who has, no major league experience, kind of calling out major leaguers and saying that what they're teaching isn't the right thing. And I find that to be quite fathomable.
Yeah, it's absurd if you think about it. It's why would people believe that somebody who never played even a minute of professional baseball knows more about hitting than all these guys who have joined in on this and had careers in the game? It's like, it just kind of defies logic. And I mean, every day I'm just more and more dumbfounded by some of the things that I see, constantly posting videos of hitters that they don't work, that they never worked with, and acting like they're all doing what they teach. Meanwhile, the hitters are saying the opposite of what they say you're supposed to do. And I mean, it's pretty comical, actually.
I mean, it's one thing, you see the veterans and guys like yourself that have chimed in, and you see, awesome commenters like Marvin Freeman, Todd Pratt, and guys that, they have great major league careers that are calling this guy out. But then to kind of almost criticize some of like the most legendary all-time Hall of Fame hitters now, it's kind of crossing over into like the blasphemy zone, because it just doesn't make any sense that this is somebody that people are taking tips from and essentially paying money to learn how to hit from a guy who really doesn't know what it's like to know what you guys know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, you can do a lot of things in the cage or hitting off a tee when the ball's not moving, but to tell guys who've been in the trenches and who've stepped in the major league's batter's box against guys throwing 100 miles an hour that they were no good and they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, it's basically like somebody saying, well, I read the medical dictionary and I know more than you, doctor. It's like it just defies logic. And they're the ones who have been started out calling us names, and I mean, some of the stuff that I've got sent, I mean, I refuse to put it online because that's not the type of person I am. But I can't even really describe the level of hate that they've exhibited toward me. Phone calls from unknown numbers, text messages from unknown numbers calling me names, my kids' names.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty ugly. And it's just, I mean, it shouldn't get to that. I mean, teach what you want to teach. I think the whole thing that the Shigan movement believes in is that there are many ways to be successful in this game. And if you look at some of the great players of our time in history, None of them hit the same. So why are
Right.
we now teaching everybody to hit with this one certain swing? And during my 15-year career, not one time did one of my coaches in professional baseball say one word to me about my swing. Not once. And now it's all about the swing, which it's
Right.
it's really. I mean, people who've been there know it's not about the swing. It's about what works for you and your approach, and what you're thinking when you go up to the plate, and all your preparation you do before the game. Not just, am I swinging on this level of trajectory or launch angle or whatever. So
Yeah, it's it almost it comes down sort of to the new school versus old school mentality, but you see the guy who we're talking about, and will go unnamed on this program. You see, okay, he's got success with quote unquote success with a guy like Aaron Judge. Well, guess what? Aaron Judge is like looks like a Greek god, the way he's built, his size. So you could teach him how to swing up, and this weird, the one the one video clip that goes around with the way he's swinging, it looks so unnatural. But a guy like Aaron Judge, hand him a bat and see how far the ball lands. And to me, that's where you kind of judge what kind of hitter Aaron Judge is.
yeah, and I mean, you're using freaks of nature as your example of how everybody should hit. I mean, at 5'9", 160 pounds, I was told not to hit the ball in the air. That was my job. If I'd have hit the ball in the air, I wouldn't have been in the big league. So what am I supposed to do as a hitter? No, I've got to hit home runs. During my era, that wasn't really the game.
Right.
You had maybe 2 or 3 guys on your team that were, the power guys. As I was actually, funny story, I was just watching my first major league game. Okay, I led off the game. The guys hitting behind me were Dean Palmer, Ruben Sierra, Palmero, Juan Gonzalez, Kevin Reimer, Pudge Rodriguez.
Wow.
Okay. Now, is my job to hit the ball out of the park, or is my job to get on base?
No. Yeah, you're getting
It just, and so that, I did what I was told to do: hit the ball on the ground, hit the ball on the line, get on base, score runs, play good defense, turn double play. And that was my role.
And you did in your first game. You had 2 hits in that first game, which I'm sure was an unbelievable feeling. So you're reliving it, and just looking at the calendar, it's coming shy of 27 years that you debuted for the Texas Rangers on a day that I have to ask you about, because going and doing the research, it's mind-boggling to see it on paper. But you debuted the same day the Texas Rangers fired Bobby Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
So that had to have been an interesting first day. Can you kind of bring us back to that and tell us what your thoughts were back then?
Yeah, it's funny. I just watched them interview Tom Grieve and how young he looked when, they made the move. It's funny that the day I got called up, I get to DFW airport, and at 5 o'clock, and on the way to the field, the driver said, "Yeah, they just fired Bobby Valentine, and his last official act as manager was to call you and Brian Bohannon to the big league." So I get to the
Oh, wow.
field. And Toby Harrah is our interim manager, and they say, "Hey, go check out the lineup." I get to the field at 5:30. Games at 7. They said, "Check out the lineup." So I go check out the lineup. I'm number 51, my first game. I'm leading off, playing second, and I look at the bottom, and Nolan Ryan's pitching for us.
Oh, wow.
So right into
That,
the fire my first day.
that was a hell of a team. And later on in the summer, you guys would trade Ruben Sierra for Jose Canseco and grab him. And, the infamous ball off the top of the head was, I don't know if it was 92, if it was 93, but it was still that era of Texas Ranger baseball. But just to have that as your first day, I'm sure you kind of got to see Bobby Valentine in spring training. So kind of knowing what the expectations were on the field, as you were getting on the airplane versus getting off, and now having an interim manager. And how does that kind of impact a rookie stepping in the box for the first time?
Man, you're so nervous. You can't think about anything else that's going around. You just got to try and focus. And I think it probably worked well for me, because I didn't have much time to sit around and think about my first game and get really nervous. I mean, I was rushing around to, get my bag unpacked and get out for infield, which was at 6:10. I couldn't make it out for BP, and I was just trying to focus on, maybe get a few scouting reports on the Indians. We played the Indians my first game, and I mean, they had Jim Thome, a slim Jim Thome, playing third base. They had Carlos Baerga, Roberto Alomar, Paul Sorrento. I mean, they had Mark Witten. They had some studs on their team, and I'm just trying to get the scouting report. You don't want to mess up and be in the wrong position when Nolan Ryan gets somebody to hit a ground ball. So I didn't. It was fortunate for me that I didn't have enough time to really get nervous.
Now, does Nolan Ryan say anything to you as you're getting ready to take the field?
No, you didn't talk to Nolan. Nolan was like, I mean, you just tried not to mess up when he was pitching. Or I remember walking over to his locker after I'd been there a while to get some autographs, and I mean, everybody in the locker room's going, "Oh no, here he comes, Nolan! Mortgage must be due." You get an autograph from Nolan, and the ball's immediately worth like $75. So, no, Nolan was larger than life.
Oh, that's great. Now I love that era. That's takes me back to being a young little guy and watching you guys and really loving the game of baseball at an early age and not caring about swings and launch angles and this and that. Just wanted to watch the games and see you guys perform. But you get your first hit in your first game, so that's kind of got to take a load off your back and make the next at bat maybe a little easier because you got that first one off the schneid. How'd the first hit feel?
I felt good. I mean, my first at bat, I walked on 5 pitches, which was good because I was shaking in my boots. And my first hit was a kind of a sinking line drive to left field that Albert Bell tried to make a sliding catch, and it bounced past him. So I got a triple, and man, it was a big relief. And then my next at bat, I was just watching. I was 0-2 in the count, and I flicked a little base hit to right field. So my first 3 at bats, I got on base, which is, you can relax after that a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you think you're on top of the world, right? So the next,
Yeah,
the first offer probably hurts a little more.
Yeah, this big league stuff is easy, man. I thought, I'm batting 1,000, 2 for 2 with a walk and 2 or 3 runs scored, and it's all downhill from there. Actually,
Do you still have the ball?
I do. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's the first question. Somebody one of the last guests we had on, I asked, "Do you still have the ball?" And they said that, they gave it to somebody and this and that. But it's one of those things. I'm sure that's like you gotta kind of tear that away from the vice grips of life because that's one for the books.
It's really cool what they do nowadays. They didn't do this for me that I remember, but now they throw the ball in to the dugout and bring in a new ball. And what they do nowadays is they have somebody who gets the ball that's thrown into the dugout, and they pretend like they throw it into the stands.
Yeah.
When they actually have another ball in their hand and they throw it in the stands. So the dude's at first base going, or whatever base going, damn, I just got my first hit, and they just threw it in the stands, and I was supposed to keep that ball. But that's pretty cool if they mess with the guys.
Were you there the night that David Hulse kept hitting the foul balls into the dugout?
I was on deck.
Oh, were you really? That's one of my favorite clips of all time. I mean, that is just something, you'll never see again. What was that like, kind of watching that with the bird's eye view?
Oh, it was hilarious. I mean, the first, because Hulsey was a slasher, he could fly. So he was just trying to hit the ball on the ground to the left side. And that was kind of his game. But yeah, the first one he hits in there was a rocket. And then like everybody's, alert. And then he hits another one. And then they a bunch of the guys move out of the dugout. Then he hits another one, and then everybody in the team was down the tunnel. he was even laughing at home plate. I think it's you could probably find a blooper reel of that, but we were cracking up.
That was a This Week in Baseball staple for many, many years because it was just so freaking hard to believe. And even calling the security guy down, they got everybody out of the way.
Yeah, we're not safe in here. This dude's trying to kill us. I mean, it's funny because Hulsey was also the one who played center field when Jose took the ball off his head, and Jose stuck his glove over his face. So he's in all the bloopers.
What a team, huh? That was some great stuff. I'm going to welcome in here, like I said, Doug, the local statistician. He's got some bests and worsts that we're going to run by you here. So let's get Doug up and let's hear what you got here, Doug.
How you doing, Jeff? So I'm a pollster by day, and I spend a lot of time with sort of the nitty gritty of the report. Looking at your career, I found a couple instances where you really handled some of the best pitchers of the day quite well. Whether it's Roger Clemens, you hit 421. You went 9 for 31 with a 290 average off David Wells. You had 316 off Randy Johnson. Was there anything about those pitchers specifically that stands out as to why you did so well, or did you just kind of rise to the occasion when you were facing the best in the game?
Well, I mean, with the exception of David Wells, I mean, those other guys were, pure power pitchers. So those guys were, I mean, David Wells was more of a, he had a good fastball, but not like Randy Johnson and Roger Clemens. He was more of a cutter kind of guy, but I could hit a fastball. And the thing is those type of pitchers, they're not going to goof around with a guy like me because they're not afraid that I'm going to hit a home run. So they're going to come right after me. And I was just the type of guy who had a short swing and could hit a fastball. So I think that's why I had success against those guys. Funny side note on David Wells is I started out my career 0 for 15 against him. And I was like, man, why can't I hit this guy? And
wow.
So I was facing him one day. And before the game, I called a good friend and that I'd played with and was a scout. And I said, man, I don't know why I can't hit this guy. And so he goes, we talked through, like, how does he get you out? And I said, well, he keeps throwing this cutter that I think I'm on it. And then every time I go to swing, it jams me, gets in on my bat, and he goes, well, just make sure, look for the ball away. If it's not away, don't swing at it. So I was like, all right, my first at bat, I looked for the ball away, got a base hit, got to first base. And the funny thing is, I didn't know David Wells. I'd never talked to him in my life. So he takes his hat off, right? And he looks at me with a smile and goes like this with his hat and puts it back on his head, flips me off. And I got a chuckle out of that. But so you said I was 9 for 31 against him, and I started out 0 for 15. So that means I was 9 for 16 after I kind of had an idea how to try and hit him.
That's pretty impressive. There you go.
Now on the flip side, not to talk about the downside too much. When we had Bill Madlock on, he was struggling a lot against Scott Erickson, but he had Steve Carlton really well. Now on your end, one person looking at your
I know who you're bringing up. I don't want to talk about Mike Mussina.
Let's talk about Darren Oliver, 7 for 10, 700 average. How about Darren Oliver?
Yeah, I love Darren. Darren's one of my best buddies, man.
There you go.
Talked to him today. And the funny thing is we were teammates in the minor leagues and with the Rangers. And I actually represented him as his agent for 9 years. But I told Darren, asked him one day, I was like, D, if we ever play against each other, how you going to get me out? Because I'm going to bust you in with a fastball. I said, all right. So first time I faced him, he comes inside and I freaking turn on a fastball. Just hit it off Dean Palmer's glove. But man, it's fun to have success against your old teammates and your friends like that.
And that's one of the best stories, I think, of modern baseball is Darren Oliver leaving the game and coming back and playing an additional 9 years. And it's remarkable. Now, he was, I remember, a key factor in the 2006 Met run, I believe. And then, but he was out of baseball. And then he goes on to have this very long, extended career. And it's one of the best stories you could possibly pick that, again, back to what we were saying at the top of the show, you just can't make that up. That's stuff that comes with the beauty of being in the major leagues.
Yeah. And actually, Darren had 9 years in the big leagues and kind of had a down year, I think, with the Cardinals. And he called me. I'd just become an agent. And he goes, Frye, Daddy, I need you to help me get a job. And I said, I can't, Darren. I said, you're represented by Scott Boras. He goes, well, stay on the phone. I want you to hear me fire him. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, call me back if you fire him. So he calls me back 5 minutes later. He goes, I left him a voicemail, man. See what you can do. Within 48 hours, I got him an invitation to camp with the Rockies. Okay. So he makes the team, does all right, but then he walks away for a year, right? Decides he was going to retire or whatever. And the funny story is Sandy Johnson was assistant GM of the Mets at the time. And I knew Sandy from his days with the Rangers because he was assistant GM of the Rangers when I came up and always loved Sandy. And I called Sandy up that offseason and I said, hey, man, you guys have any interest in Darren Oliver? He goes, I don't know. Let me talk to our guys. And he said, I'll call you back tomorrow. So I'm sitting around the house waiting and waiting and waiting. It's a beautiful day. I'm like, man, I want to go play golf. I lived on the golf course. I'm like, I'm going to go play golf. So third hole, my phone rings. It's Sandy Johnson. And it's kind of windy out too. So I'm like, man, if this wind's going to be blowing in my phone. I'm like, so I crawl in these kind of sneak in these bushes by the tee box, try and get out of the wind. And I was like, "What's up, Sandy?" He goes, "What's up, Freiberger?" He goes, "Hey, we'd love to give Ollie a shot." I was like, "All right, what are we gonna get? What are we gonna do?" He goes, "How about 600 grand if he makes the team?" I said, "That'll work, Sandy." "All right, we'll have our guys call you," and got the deal done. I was standing in the bushes on the third tee box at Mira Vista Country Club, and I mean, look what Darren did after that.
That's awesome. What a great story. And I'm sure that's as turning into an agent, that's got to be up there with some of the best of the the quick decision deals. That's pretty damn good one.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out great for all of us, and Darren's just, I mean, like I said, one of my best friends from the game, and for him to do what he did after he sat out a year, it was pretty incredible. He had 5 years in a row with ERA in the twos.
That was
You know,
great. I mean, just at a perfect spot. They always seem to find a good place for him on the team that he was on, and he really extended that career, which is fantastic. And for you though, but that's what a transition to go from playing and then becoming an agent. How was that transition for you? Was it tough? Was it easy to kind of keep the player's mindset and now have the players kind of like best interest in the forefront of your brain? How was that move for you?
it was tough at first. When you first become an agent, you think, "Oh man, I played with this guy, and they'll all want to fire their agents and hire me," and it doesn't really work that way. It's like these guys are, fortunately are loyal to their agent, and so they're not going to jump ship. And I'm not really the kind of guy to try and get them to, try and steal other agents' clients. So that was tough at first, getting used to. But having a big leaguer my first year as an agent was really cool, and especially when a guy that you can represent for 9 years, it was Darren Oliver was my guy for 9 years. So.
No, that's fantastic. So what do you think, kind of just looking at today's landscape, do you think, we kind of have something here in the next couple of months? Do you think that this season may be a wash, or where do you think this 2020 baseball season lies right now?
I'm not real optimistic. I'll be honest. If the owners try to implement the 48 game schedule, I'm not sure the players are going to buy it. It's unfortunate, man, because
Yeah,
we could be the only game in town right now, and
right.
be the most popular. We're probably never going to surpass football again as the most, America's pastime. We'll always be America's pastime, but probably not America's favorite sport anymore. But I think this is a golden opportunity that we let go by the wayside, and it could end up hurting us in the long run.
Yeah, it seemed like last season there was a lot of momentum from like the PR point of view. You had the young guns, you had the Alonsos and Vlad Juniors, Tatis, and guys that were really starting to be the flag wavers that were great compliments to guys like Trout, who are not old in any sense of the word, so have many years ahead of them. But it seems like it's been stalled, and now it's where everybody's talking about the '98 documentary. It seems like you almost need that moment to get people back the way the home run chase did 22 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I started watching that actually yesterday. Pretty cool.
Oh, it's awesome.
But that kind of brought baseball back. And everybody
Mhm.
suspected that there were some type of really good vitamins being used by some of those guys. You see some of these balls hit that are moon shots that no. I remember there's one of the games I played against the Oakland A's where I was standing next to Mark McGuire, and I looked like a third grader. I mean, he was just massive, man. He looked like a bodybuilder playing baseball. But I thought last year, after what the Nationals did, and I thought that was great for baseball what the Nationals did, because they relied more on old school scouting
Yeah.
and not so much analytics and data, and they won. And I was like, man, this is hopefully going to get us going back in the direction of, let's listen to baseball people. Let's do the little things we have to do to win a game, and not just rely strictly on data and analytics.
Exactly. I could have done without the baby shark, but besides that, I think they did
Yeah,
a
me
pretty good
too.
job. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Great minds think alike. All right. Well, as we get into the wrap up here, again, want to talk about, we are saying how your videos were like perfectly timed. We're all sitting at home. We're looking for some sort of baseball. So why not have it with a couple of laughs and learn from a certified hitting guru? But if the listeners of Diamond Conversations haven't seen these videos yet, where can they go find more from the certified hitting guru himself, Mr. Jeff Frye?
Well, it's at we have a website, shigonhitting.com. You can check out if you want to. You don't have to buy a T-shirt to be part of the Shigon movement, but they're pretty cool T-shirts. And then you can go to @O3JFrye on Twitter, and then Certified Hitting Guru on Instagram. And what else? Facebook. I have Shigon Hitting or Jeff Frye, I think it is. I don't know. Just I wasn't on any friggin' social media. I was on Instagram like 4 months ago. Now I don't even remember, my passwords or none of this garbage anymore. This was not by design, trust me.
But hey, that's what you can't stop movements. They steamroll. They're like the snowball coming down the mountain. They just pick up steam, and they end up like a monster when they get to the end. And if like I said, the war on the big leaguers, the reverse jockism. I'm looking for a T-shirt on that, reverse jockism, because it's so ridiculous to have anybody calling out a big leaguer who never stepped through the tunnel, never got on the field, never stood next to Nolan Ryan as he's taking the mound. It's kind of hard to hear somebody and take them seriously, especially when they're doing like this thing or whatever, whatever that little clip that keeps going around. I can't get behind it.
Yeah, you gotta snap it and supinate, and I don't even know what the rest of the crap is. HLP. Nobody knows what that means yet. We need to find out what that means. But really, the Shigon movement is really a bunch of guys who love this game, who've been around this game, learned how to play as kids, basic fundamentals, and we think the kids are getting hurt by what they're being taught by some of these guys. And we know that kids, if you fail at this game, you're not going to keep playing. It's just, if you're no good at it, you're not going to have fun. So a lot of these swings we're seeing taught to these kids aren't going to work unless you're big and strong. And if you're the 6 foot 150-pound 12-year-old in Little League, you got a good shot. But if you're the little Smurf guy like my kids were, you can't hit the ball over the fence. So that swing's not going to work. And, also the Shigon movement, we want to get good baseball people back in baseball. There's too many guys that deserve to be in this game, coaching and teaching. They're out of the game because people who, never played beyond high school, who come with all this data and analytics and throwing hard and all these things are in the game now, replacing these guys. And we'd like to see that change.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, go to shigonhitting.com and get yourself some Shigon swag and support the certified hitting guru, support the movement, get behind it. And if you want to get behind more for Diamond Conversations, you can follow me at Chad Ian B on Twitter or at Diamond Convo on Twitter, where you'll also find me retweeting the Jeff Frye videos because I love it. And it's been great while baseball is gone. So we appreciate you keeping it going, and all the best to you and everybody else in your world. And I appreciate the time today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all be safe.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.